Hi there, happy April, and welcome to Never Seen It, a podcast about movies that we haven't seen. I'll be your host today. My name is Betsy. As always, my co-host is with me, and his name is Trent.
Welcome!
Hi, Trent. We are, as promised, doing 2 series in the month of April, and this is the first. So every Sunday this month, 5 episodes, 5 weeks, we are doing Smutty Sunday.
Smutty Sunday. We've done something like this in the past, but we never had a name for it, so hey, here we are.
So yes, we did this once before. God, that was a while ago now, too.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so we did smutty movies. It's things that we know have a reputation of sex or something naughty, or that's kind of debauchery. The thing we know about it is it falls under a smutty category.
And for those of you who have not heard those episodes, what did we cover? We covered Showgirls.
We covered 50 Shades of Grey.
Yep.
Basic Instinct.
Which was a fantastic movie. We were not prepared for that, and we're hoping that will carry over to maybe one of these movies at least. But the movies we're covering this time are of a similar ilk, at the very least. So, Betsy, why don't we just get into it?
Sure thing, Trent. We are watching for our first smutty movie, 1999's Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
So, Trent, neither of us has seen this movie. It is closing in on 25 years of this movie existing.
Yeah.
And we haven't watched it. No real reason. I think it's just we haven't gotten to it yet. So tell me, Trent, what do you remember? What do you know about Eyes Wide Shut?
So it is Stanley Kubrick's final movie. He died before it even got released. I read something before we sat down here saying he had, I think, submitted his final cut of the movie to the studio like days before he died.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a completely sudden thing. He wasn't in any kind of poor health. It was very much a surprise.
He wasn't that old because he was starting
70.
in the 1960s.
Yeah, he was 70 when he died.
Yeah.
Other than that fact, it is Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman when they were married.
I think this might have been the last thing they made together because they didn't last much longer than this movie.
Or maybe like they were on the outs while they were making it. I don't know the history there.
I know it was like the early mid-2000s when they broke up.
Yeah.
So this was near the end, but this was like the 4th or 5th movie they made together.
I suppose.
They maybe not that many, but they made a lot of movies together.
They made a few, yeah. Other than those two people, I have no idea who else is in the movie. But like the things that you know about the movie, like you know the poster, which is kind of like almost like a postage stamp sized photo on like a blue purplish background, like you're looking into a frame or a window.
You're not supposed to be seeing what you're seeing.
Sure, and there's like this weird, the famous scene in the movie, I think, is the orgy.
There's
an orgy in this movie. And I imagine it's very European because orgies don't happen in the United States like they do in Europe.
I mean, they probably do, but we don't hear about them.
But that's the thing. These are like the masquerade. There's a masquerade party.
It's a masked
people in
orgy.
Masks. Yeah. And I know there's a story about the studio didn't like the original cut, so of the orgy scene, I mean, where they actually had to like superimpose some stuff on the screen to censor out like man bits.
They're covering up the junk.
Yeah. So they didn't want to have that. I mean, this is 1999, so you're not going to get a lot of that on screen. So like there were like erect dicks on screen.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
This movie went for it.
This was going to be like NC-17 territory, and they didn't want to have a Stanley Kubrick movie that they couldn't like release widely.
Yeah, the audience would be very small if they slapped NC-17 on it.
Exactly, and we've already covered one NC-17 movie on this here podcast, and that was Showgirls. And I mean, people still saw it. It wasn't very good though. My understanding though, this movie is really good.
I mean, it is Kubrick, and he has a reputation for some pretty solid filmography.
Right. And the reason why we picked this one is because it's got that titillation, it's got that naughtiness.
Literally,
that you're not going to watch this with your mom.
Literally, this many years have gone by, and the only thing I can tell you about the plot is there's an orgy.
Yeah.
I do not know if they are a married couple in this movie, if they are just together, if they... why there's an orgy, what that's about, if there's actually a plot or it's all about sex. I have absolutely no idea what the plot of this movie is.
I'm sure there is a plot. I don't have a clue what anything is about. I don't know what the motivations are, who these people are. Are they married in the movie, like you said, or do they come upon each other, so to speak?
Yeah. The only other thing I know about this is the trailer for this movie had that Chris Isaac song.
Yeah,
and that was my
Baby Did a Bad
that was
Thing.
my introduction. And every time I hear that song to this day, I think about the trailer for Eyes Wide Shut.
I fucking love Chris Isaac. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're otherwise going into this fairly blind. So let's go ahead and do it. We're gonna go watch Eyes Wide Shut, and we will be right back. And we're back. Merry Christmas, Trent.
Merry Christmas, Betsy.
Eyes Wide Shut, the Christmas movie we didn't know
that we needed.
We needed. It's a Christmas miracle. What did you think of this one, Trent?
That was a lot. It was a lot, and I think I liked it. Yeah, I can see why people have a high regard for this movie because it's shot in a very interesting way. It is acted in an interesting way. The story is odd. It's odd.
This is fantasy. This movie is, if I would give it one word, it's fantasy. But it's like
an
also
erotic fantasy.
It's also psychosexual fantasy, thriller, mystery. There's a lot of components to this.
It's a lot packed into 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, and I think, when we're picking these movies about smut,
yes,
we're going off what we think we know about it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people feel the same way about this movie that we did going in, where it's all sex. Every inch of this movie is sexy, sex.
Yeah.
But realistically, the first 10 seconds, Nicole Kidman is naked.
Yes.
You see
within
her
the first 10 seconds, literally.
seconds of this movie, you get someone who is
ass.
naked. But the thing about it is, those two only have sex with each other. We don't even see it on screen. And the rest of the movie, something always stops him from having sex with someone else.
Yeah, neither of them cheated on each other.
Cheated on each other.
It's just in their head. And I mean, we're going to have a longer conversation about this, but I feel like them not actually going through with it is the most torturous thing that they could possibly put themselves through. And, it's for the best in the course of their marriage anyway.
It's this freaky little marriage that they have where they actually really love each other.
They do.
But they clearly have some impulses that they are trying to just crush down inside them.
Right, and it takes...
But they bubble up.
Yeah, it takes her getting high out of her gourd on her Band-Aid weed to fully admit, I had a heavy obsession with this person that I never even met. I just saw in passing. We glanced at each other. We locked eyes.
And I was ready to
for
go.
maybe a moment.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I was ready to leave everything behind.
A complete stranger.
My daughter, everybody, for this complete stranger.
But she didn't actually do anything.
No, but she's been obsessing about it ever since it happened. And it was, I guess, last summer, so like 18 months ago.
Yeah, like a year and a half.
She's still thinking about it.
And this triggers him to a degree that he goes on this 48-hour roller coaster.
Yeah.
And this is the plot of the movie. But again, I think so many people were so fixated on the concept of the orgy, and like when you're
Sure.
watching like trailers and things for this,
They focus on the titillation.
it is all about the sex. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people assume that's all this movie is, but it's also kind of, I don't know, nightmarish and scary
That's
at times.
the thing. That's the thing. Kubrick would not make a smut movie. It's not.
It's
in
his
any way.
No, it's his interpretation of, like I said, sexual fantasy.
Yeah.
But people aren't acting out the sexual fantasies except at the orgy.
Right.
And at the orgy, there's more to it than that.
Right. And that's not even a thing that he really dives into. Like, at the end of the movie, we don't know what this secret society is.
Nope.
Nobody knows.
They're rich and powerful people who get together and fuck.
And they have these weird rituals, and who the fuck knows, like, how long this has been going on, who any of these people are. The only person that we get revealed is the Sidney Pollack character. That's it.
I assume he was the one who gave him the nod. When he was there, a guy up in the balcony turns and looks at him, and he gives him this slow nod.
Okay.
And he nods back. And I kind of figured somebody he knew was here, because it seems like the kind of movie, why would you have this event and not have some correlation? Because I knew he was outed at the orgy. I've seen that scene somewhere before where he is taking the mask off.
Okay.
And I knew that was going to happen somehow. I'm still not clear exactly how they figured out this dude wasn't supposed to be here.
Well, they said it when Sidney Pollack confronts him about it. When they took his coat, they took everything out of his coat, and they saw the receipt with his name on it. Mm-hmm. So you ask around, hey, anybody know this guy? Is he supposed to be here? He's not supposed to be here.
Yeah, and so it takes a little while to track him down because they're all masked.
Right.
But yeah, I almost wish that we hadn't gotten that scene with Sidney Pollack, because it answers the questions. And I think the way they set it up, you almost could have been left with more questions and it would have been more interesting, because they're setting up a couple of dominoes earlier in the movie where you can make your own assumption about what happened. You know, there's this woman at the orgy who says, you can't be here, you need to get out of here.
Right.
And she warns him, or tries to. And then she says, I'll take responsibility for it.
We get some closure on some of it.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think maybe the movie would have been better if the audience was left with more of a mystery, and like Tom Cruise just left and never looked back.
Because I could have seen 3 outcomes for that. 1 being what we got, which was Mandy. 2 being Domino, the hooker who he tried to hook up with earlier in
Bill's
the movie.
hooker.
And 3 would be Nicole Kidman herself, like his wife, because they don't show this woman. She's just a mysterious redhead. And these women, they don't all look exactly alike, but they have enough kind of similar looks if you put a mask on them that it would have made for an interesting turn if you are left questioning what is and isn't reality in this movie.
You're right. I don't think that's possible because, number one, everybody's naked, and he would recognize his wife's naked body. I'm just going to say.
Okay, you would hope so.
I would hope so.
You would think so.
And her voice.
Yes, but even in this, like, I know it's not real. They doubled the voice, which apparently is Cate Blanchett. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, and there are different cuts of this movie with overdubbed dialogue. Maybe it was a little bit too muffled in the shooting of it. I don't know.
Well, when you're talking through a mask, that's usually the case.
Yeah.
It's an interesting movie, this one. I think I also liked it. I also think there are things, like I said, that could have been improved upon just because it would have made more interesting, but it's interesting as it is.
Yeah.
I was just expecting something different by the end. Like, I wasn't expecting him to be called in by Sidney Pollack, which is, another director in this movie.
Again, this is the second appearance of Sidney Pollack in this show over the past,
recently,
2 weeks?
Yeah, or a month at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kind of lays it out and gives the whole explanation. It's like, I didn't really want the explanation. I kind of wanted it to stay a secret, and he can just be in this like danger, and there's people following him around every corner, and they know who he is, and they're following him, and that's just kind of my feeling on it.
There still is some mystery there because he even said, oh man, if you knew the names, I'm not going to tell you the names, but if you knew the names, I don't remember what he said after that, but yeah, like some of the people he like Sidney Pollack knows are supposedly like more rich and powerful people that you would absolutely recognize, I guess. And And yeah, you're right. Like, the movie was marketed as this sexy thing between, Hollywood's two young starlets, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, who were married at the time. Mm-hmm. And, you want to go to the theater to see them get it on, so to speak. And that doesn't really happen all that much. Like, they're together on screen semi-naked once. And that's it.
And if you think about when this came out in 99.
Yep.
He was a megastar. He had already been in, Oscar-nominated movies, big blockbuster movies. Mm-hmm. And she was still kind of on the rise. Like, she had made some pretty big movies. Like, she was in a Batman movie. She was in Batman Forever a few years before this.
Okay.
She was in Practical Magic. But she was kind of star on the rise, and he was already pretty established. And it was interesting watching this because I feel like her Australian accent slipped out more here than later in her career. Like, now she's really mastered it. I feel like she doesn't slip, but like, she's dancing with the doctor, the random Hungarian man at the party at the beginning of the movie, and she just goes, no. It's like, oh,
that's a hard one. That's a hard one for Australians. Come on.
It really is, but it's just so, it's like, we couldn't do another take. Like, there's these notorious stories about Stanley Kubrick making people do things over and over and over again. Tom Cruise had to walk through a door 95 times when recording this movie.
Yeah, 95 takes to do one little thing of him walking through a doorway.
This movie held the Guinness Book of Records for longest shoot at over 400 days or some insane thing. Yeah. So we couldn't take one more take where she didn't say no.
Maybe that was the best one, Betsy. I don't know.
I'm just going to be really nitpicky about that. But yeah, there's all these different elements contextually that are interesting about it because she's on the rise. Yeah. He's steady.
Not to mention that, Tom Cruise was also notorious about, getting together with and then dumping and moving on to another star on the rise. Katie Holmes, anybody?
Well, even before we got to that, like, I was just reading about kind of the behind the scenes things, and Stanley Kubrick was basically intentionally driving a wedge between them for the sake of the movie.
Yes, for the sake of the movie, because there should be this distrust between them, whether it's real or not.
But you can't tell me that didn't plant seeds that then sprouted into, we're getting divorced.
Betsy, Tom Cruise is crazy.
Okay, yes. I'm just saying maybe this movie accelerated.
I don't know, but I don't want to get into his crazy. We have covered enough Tom Cruise movies, and we will continue to cover these movies, but we're not going to get into his crazy. Anyway, but I don't really care about the personal nature. All I care about is the chemistry on screen and just them being believable as a married couple that are not necessarily on the rocks. They're not. But again, I mentioned it. She gets high and says, I want to have this discussion about men. And I want to know how your mind works, because you like to play little doctor and you get these hot young women coming in, you get to feel them up. You're telling me that you're not completely obsessed with them. You're not thinking about when you're rubbing on their boobs. You're not thinking about, ooh, this feels nice. Come on, you can't tell me that. And he is very defensive, saying, no, it is just a doctor and patient thing. I have no sexual thoughts in my mind whatsoever. But then she also turns on him and thinks, oh, what about the patients? Do the patients think, oh, here's this handsome young doctor feeling me up. I wonder what his pee-pee looks like.
And this basically triggers the whole next phase of the movie, because she tells him the story about this naval officer who she's obsessed with, and nothing happened. Like, she doesn't say, we fucked. Like,
sure.
The implication is she wanted to and was ready to, but didn't actually do anything because she loves her husband.
Yeah, her mind got racing. She was horny and was just having this fantasy that has been stuck in her mind for a year and a half. And she just needed to get it off her chest.
And so he then leaves because he gets a phone call. He's constantly interrupted in this movie.
Right.
It happens a lot. Called away. And he is having fantasies throughout the rest of the movie of her and this guy together, which is kind
imagining what it would have been like.
It's moving him forward in the plot, because it's like he wants a little bit of revenge, because he's like, well, if she's going to act on her impulses, I'm going to act on mine, even though she didn't act on the impulse.
Right. And they even have, in that discussion, she even mentions, yeah, you don't get jealous, do you? No, I never get jealous. Come on. What are you
Except
talking about?
For the next 2 days, he's clearly incredibly jealous.
So, like, she's in the ballroom dancing with this old dude who wants to fuck her, and she's able, even drunk, she's able to say, no, I'm gonna go find my husband because I want to go home and fuck my husband, not your old ass.
I know.
I don't need you.
Yeah, I know what you want.
Yeah.
I ain't stupid.
I want to dance, and you're the person who's here to dance with me, so I'm using you.
But one thing that was interesting is from here on out, this becomes a Tom Cruise movie. I was figuring we were going to get more equal screen time just because, again, it's this couple and they're hot and young and they're going to make this movie together. And so they advertise it that way. But he is off on this adventure and she's at home with their daughter.
The first third of the movie, it's pretty much equal. Maybe I think Nicole Kidman gets a little bit more screen time. She certainly gets more lines.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that Tom Cruise is doing, he's flirting with the two models who are hanging on him. He's called away by Sidney Pollack to resuscitate his almost dead hooker.
Well, I don't know if she's a hooker or not because there's a little bit of a vagueness to that.
Okay, girlfriend.
His lady who is in the bathroom with him has OD'd.
Exactly. But besides those little scenes off there, she is on screen most of the time and having most of the dialogue here with the old dude, with him in the bedroom. And I will say, I am not a Nicole Kidman fan. I have never been. This is the best thing I've ever seen her do by a mile.
Because you don't like her or because you're indifferent?
No, I kind of actively dislike Nicole Kidman's acting these days.
Interesting.
In the past 20 years, let's say, because obviously I haven't seen a whole lot of Nicole Kidman movies, but I've just got this thing about her that I just kind of don't like. And this was fantastic.
I will give you that early Nicole Kidman, acting-wise, this is the sweet spot. I think from 99 to about 2005 is when you're going to get her best stuff.
Yes.
Which is why she won an Oscar.
Right. Well, and in recent years, I think she has just fallen off a cliff.
She's phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe. Now, that's us not having really watched anything, but it does feel like there's a certain regurgitation happening with the project she's working on.
Indeed.
But yeah, she has a lot of presence in the beginning of the movie. And you're right, that scene where she kind of confronts him and says, I'm going to tell you my innermost secret. It literally, if she doesn't deliver on that scene, the rest of the movie doesn't work.
Yeah,
because you have to believe her.
Yeah, she needs to be convincing in order for him to go off on this adventure.
Yeah, and you can see it on his face. Like, they linger on her. They don't really cut back to him very often. But once she's done and it's silent, he doesn't even have a chance to say anything or ask any questions because the phone rings and he's called away.
And he calls away, yeah. He doesn't get to have any kind of conclusion to that whole thing. Because, again, I think she's just kind of poking the bear here because he says, no, I don't get jealous. Okay, motherfucker, how about this?
Let's test that theory.
This? How about you get jealous about this particular thing and tell me you're not jealous? Come on.
And at this point of the movie, I also kind of noticed, did you pick up on like all the parallels that were kind of happening where they would give you one thing and then they'd give you a juxtaposition of it? So she tells him this story about, here's this guy I didn't meet, I didn't know, and I was ready to throw my entire life away on him. He goes over to this woman's house. It's this patient he had, is her father, and he was only at the house as a doctor, and she confesses she's in love with him. And he says, you don't even know me.
Yeah, we barely know each other. Come on.
The only conversations we've ever had have been about your father. And she is crying and confessing she loves him. So that I found was like a juxtaposition. The fact that her fiance is Thomas Gibson, who in the 1990s, if you're looking at him, he and Tom Cruise have a similar look. I feel like they don't look identical.
He's got about 6 inches on Tom Cruise.
But do you get what I'm saying? They kind of have like the heavy eyebrows, the floppy hair,
dark hair,
distinguished nose, chiseled jaw.
Fine.
I'm just saying, I don't think it was a coincidence that they cast somebody who is her fiance, who she doesn't want to marry, who kind of looks like the guy she's secretly in love with.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think that was a mistake.
Maybe.
Then there's other things, like when he leaves there, he's down on the street, and there's this group of like college bros who call him gay and kind of bully him.
Yeah.
And then immediately he's picked up by a hooker.
Right.
It's these weird kind of things happening one right after another to bookend a situation.
Right, and I don't really understand why these bros were doing this. Of course, it was 1999, and bros are going to be bros no matter what decade it is. But yeah, it is kind of strange to have those things right next to each other. I don't know what it means.
I just think it's, like I said, mirrors and parallels. Like, there's that one of the most famous scenes outside of the orgy is the one in the trailer where it's the two of them at the beginning of the movie. Chris Isaac's playing in the background, and they're about to fuck. And you can see their backs.
Yeah.
So you can see them in the foreground, and then in the background, their reflection in the mirror. So you're getting the front and the back of them as it zooms in.
Right.
So it's just like a mirror thing, a parallel thing. I don't know. I was just picking up on this throughout the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we get the scene with the hooker running into him, and who is that, Betsy?
That would be Vanessa Shaw from Hocus Pocus.
From Hocus Pocus.
Only other thing I've ever seen her in.
One of my earliest crushes of my life.
Oh, really? I don't think I knew that.
Come on, everybody loved her.
There were a lot of random people just showing up in this movie because she shows up, and then a few sequences later, Lily Sobieski is in this.
Is as a teenager.
Yeah, she was young. This is post Deep Impact, so it's not like she was an unknown at this time. But she barely had, did she have any lines? I don't know if she did.
In the second appearance of her, when she's up front.
Okay.
Yeah. She has like one line.
Okay.
It's not much.
But she's in it. The actor who plays Boris the Blade from Snatch.
Yeah.
Rade, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
He was in this.
Alan Cumming.
Alan Cumming is in this. Speaking of other directors, Todd Field is in this movie.
We just covered a movie of his that was nominated for an Oscar, Tar. He directed that movie, and he's the piano player.
And he has kind of a pivotal role. He's the one that clues him in on the fact that there's an orgy. He doesn't tell him exactly, because we don't get the full scene.
No.
But he kind of spills the beans at the wrong time to the wrong person. And that's triggering all the rest of the movie. And it's like, you're just trying to show off to your friend because you went to medical school.
Right.
He went to medical school. One of you's a doctor and one of you plays jazz piano in little podunk
And you're
bars.
not allowed to participate in this event. You are blindfolded and you only get to sneak a peek every so often.
But you gotta brag while you can brag.
Yeah, I did get that whole thing.
And we don't know conclusively what happens. You're right. Alan Cumming is the hotel clerk at the hotel he's staying, and he gives him the scoop on, was there anything weird when he checked out of the hotel? And we get Sidney Pollack's version, which is, we put him on a plane back to Seattle with his wife and kids.
Yeah.
But Alan Cumming says, yeah, he had a bruise, and he tried to slip me an envelope, and they wouldn't let me, and there were these two dudes. And yeah, we don't know what happened to Nick Nightingale.
I believe that, yes, he was put on a plane back. He was roughed up for sure. But no, I do not believe they're in the murdering business.
That's the thing that is interesting about this, as I'm saying. Like, I kind of wish there were more open-ended questions. Because if we hadn't had that scene with Sidney Pollack, we would have been wondering what actually happened to Nick.
To have those two questions opened, whether or not he actually did make it back to Seattle, whether or not the other hooker was killed, or did she actually just OD, and it was going to happen anyway.
Because, it's Mandy from the beginning of the movie.
Right.
He tells her, oh yeah, she was at the party. She was the one who was helping you. But he doesn't get there right away. First he says, oh, that was just a woman. I know who it was. It was a hooker.
Yeah.
So was Mandy a hooker? Maybe. Maybe he was throwing him off. Because it could have been Domino. Because we haven't seen Domino again.
True.
They were setting it up in such a way that I was kind of waiting for this big, reveal or no reveal, just a mystery.
Like, are we taking things at face value, how they're being presented, or is there more? I would say there's probably more, and there are some things that are just face value.
Yeah, and then...
But which of those things are they? I don't know.
Because Sidney Pollack is saying, what if I told you that whole thing was a charade?
To scare you.
To scare you. It wasn't real.
Right. Like, as soon as they figured out you should not be here, they started this in motion, and they're gonna finger him out of the crowd and bring him back into the big surround and have him take his mask off so everybody can see that this man is not allowed here.
Yeah, and this woman... Oh, yeah, now you saw the article. Well, what if I told you she was fine? They fucked her brains out. She was passed around. Everybody had a great time. She was unharmed. They sent her home, and then she OD'd. Because at the beginning of the movie, when we introduce her, she's on the cusp of ODing.
Yeah.
So it's just as logical that he keeps changing the story just to say whatever he has to say to get this guy off the case.
Yeah, because he's giving him the story. He's being very gentle in the beginning. And by the end of it, after Tom Cruise starts questioning things and just not accepting it, Sidney Pollack just says, you know what? Enough of the bullshit. This is what's going on. Fuck you.
Yeah, whether it's true or not. I'm giving you a story. Now stop. Just stop.
Yeah, I'm telling you the same thing in a different way.
It's also funny how the next third after the orgy, it's like a fucking detective story.
It is.
He is walking around with his little doctor credential, waving it like it's a fucking police badge.
I had the
like,
same
hello,
thought.
I'm Dr. Columbo. Tell me all the information I need on this case.
It's okay. I'm a doctor.
Yeah, and he's just going back. And all of the different things he saw the night before in the middle of the night look very different in the light of day.
Well, when he goes back to the costume shop, that was fucking creepy.
Yeah, Lily Sobieski is having a three-way with two Chinese guys.
Yeah.
That he locks in the room. But then the next morning, they've just, they've made up.
We've
It's
come
fine.
to an arrangement. And if you would like a similar arrangement, Mr. Doctor, you can have it as well. Doesn't have to do with any kind of costumes. Oh, God.
So speaking of costumes, so he goes through this elaborate way of getting a costume in the middle of the night from this random Russian dude.
Go to the 24-hour costume emporium.
If you've got money, everything is 24 hours, Trent.
It's true.
If you pay the right price. He throws cash around like it's going out of style.
He's got a lot of cash.
He's a doctor. He can do that.
Yeah.
So he gets his cloak and his tuxedo and his mask. And when he returns it, the mask is missing. Now, they show him lock it up in the cabinet. We don't see if the mask is actually in the bag. We just assume it is.
We don't. It's possible he left it in the cab. It's possible they
they
took it from him.
Yeah, we don't see him leave the party.
No, that is not explained.
But later, we see Nicole Kidman lying in bed, and she's got the mask.
Yes. So, here's the thought I had. Maybe he forgot to lock it back up after he put it in there, and the kid got a hold of it.
True.
And
Kids
was
are like
playing
that.
with it. That was my initial thought, being, the innocent Boy Scout I am.
Well, and this is clearly where he keeps secure stuff because he's got that big manila folder with all his files, and he's got that at his office later, I think, too. But they don't ever open it, so I don't know if that's significant or not.
It could just be another one, too.
I don't know. It's just kind of somebody in this house got a hold of the mask and she leaves it out and he completely breaks down and says, I'll tell you everything.
Right. And they are up all night. She's crying. He's crying. And they're just having it out because he's admitting, yeah, what you said to me hurt me and I wanted to punish you, essentially. I wanted to go out and I wanted to have my own fantasy, whether or not I do anything, which he doesn't.
No, the most he does is kisses somebody.
Well, a couple of people, because the hooker kisses him and the grieving woman also kisses him.
Yeah, and I don't... And then, of course, when he's at the orgy, the woman in the mask,
masked woman,
quote, kisses him.
Right.
They pushes a mask against a mask.
Right.
So there's a lot of that happening, but I don't think he actually initiated anything.
No, he doesn't.
The only time he did was when he went back to Domino's apartment and her roommate is there.
Right.
And he starts kind of undressing her.
And he's like almost grinding up against her.
Okay, first of all, she was definitely grinding up against him first. Like,
fine.
she started it.
I mean, he's certainly not pushing her away.
No. And it's not until she's like, okay, I need to tell you something.
Sure, and that was a weird scene.
Yeah, what do you make of that? Why do we think that's relevant? Is that, again, kind of a red herring because we at this point don't know who the woman was at the party?
Maybe.
Or is she full of shit and she's just trying to get rid of this guy?
I mean, it is a way to get rid of the guy for sure. Because if Bill wants to have Domino as his side piece, as the person that he can just go to whenever he's feeling jilted, he can continue to go back there. And this is a way for, number one, him to realize he dodged a fucking bullet by saying no. And it's a way to not have him come back ever. Because you're not going to want to be with a person who's HIV positive.
in 1999.
Yeah, well,
when it was still early days
yes.
of trying to figure this out.
Yes, of course, because even he as a doctor knows what that means.
Mm-hmm. And again, she could be full of shit. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that because I don't know who's actually telling the truth in this movie.
No, because the roommate said, I heard how well you treated her. Well, what does that mean? We know what happened.
Which was nothing, basically.
He paid her the $150 that he was going to pay her anyway to fuck him. He doesn't, and he leaves.
Yeah, just gives her the money. I want to give you this.
Yeah.
She lives in a shithole.
She certainly needs the money. But did she tell a story about, hey, this Dr. Bill came by, he paid me a bunch of money, gave me a good time. I'm hoping to talk to him again sometime.
Oh no, Dr. Bill. Yeah, it was just kind of a weird scene. It was a weird scene.
Yeah.
A couple of other things that jumped out at me in this movie are just kind of how it's made. I think there's definitely parallels to other Kubrick movies. Like, you and I have seen most of them between the two of us.
No.
Have you only seen one?
I think this is the only one I've seen for sure.
Apart from Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove, I think, is the only one. Not that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, and I've seen 2001 and I've seen A Clockwork Orange. As far as I'm aware, those are all the ones I've seen. But if we were to go and really look at the styles, I'm sure we would see comparisons in this movie because he definitely had a style.
Well, and just talking about style, let's talk about how the movie looks and everything surrounding it. First of all, I mean, I'm going to skip how it looks, how it sounds. The fucking soundtrack is embedded in my brain right now.
Yeah, so you've got the beginning and the end bookends is this waltz, which again, I draw that if you think of Kubrick.
Yeah.
There's a lot of classical music that he plays, like the infamous one being 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they had a temporary score which became the permanent score. And then in between, as things are getting dicey, it's a fucking note on a piano.
Yeah.
And that was the most unnerved I think I've ever felt with a single note playing on a keyboard.
Hey, that's the thing. It goes up and it goes down as he moves throughout the scene, because it's usually all just Tom Cruise on screen during this point
just walking.
When this piece of music is playing, and it just sets the mood for whatever it is that is happening. It's happening during the castle orgy scene. It's happening when he goes home. It's happening when he's walking out on the street. It's everywhere.
When he's detecting and suspicious
it's
and
everywhere.
Being followed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a good third of this movie,
it's just that one thing.
And it's dissonant and off-putting. And let me tell you, a room full of people in cloaks wearing creepy European masks with that music playing freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing is the music in this is diegetic for a lot of it, where there's actually... it's playing on the stereo and he turns the music off and the score cuts out.
Right.
Or it's Nick at the orgy playing that song on the piano.
During the ritual thing.
Yeah. So again, it's kind of that haunting thing throughout the movie, making you ask, what's happened to Nick?
It's following him.
It's following him around. Yeah. And
literally.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
A couple of other things is you can tell there are moments. There's not a lot of directors like Kubrick where they were making movies in golden age of Hollywood, brushing up against that in the 60s, going to present day when this was made. And it's a very different style of movies that we make in 1999 than we were making in 1962.
Yeah, movies do not look like this anymore.
No, but he's carrying with him some of the tricks. This was done on film, because we still did everything on film in 1999. There's a few sequences where Tom Cruise is riding around in a car and he's clearly on a soundstage with a projector behind him.
Yeah.
But there's also a couple of sequences where it's the same thing, but he's walking on a treadmill and the city is behind him.
Yes.
And
he's on a blue screen.
It took me just a second to go, wait, that's a fucking projection behind him.
He's not actually walking down the street in that scene, but then it cuts to him actually in real life.
Right, but it's all a fucking facade because they filmed this in the UK and this is supposed to be the village in New York.
It's a set.
It's all phony. So there is this air of this is all, again, fantasy and make-believe and what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
So the more I'm digesting this, it's I don't think that was necessarily intentional, but when you know that, it makes it feel more artificial and adds to the vibe of the movie.
I don't know why he felt the need to do that one of him on the treadmill. I understand him being in the car because you can't have New York City go by the windows if you're not in New York City in 1999. But you can have the set. And he was like all of the outdoors, like in the city scenes, that's all a set.
Yeah.
So
and he's walking around the rest of the time.
I don't understand why he needed to do that other than, hey, I've used this tactic in other films. Maybe I need to do this one thing just to prove that it's me. I don't know.
I feel like if it's anything, it's kind of a dividing line because that happens after he goes to see the patient who died and his daughter kisses him. Okay, so that's where that scene happens. And then right after that is the fake scene of him on the street.
Yeah.
And that's from that point on where things get weird. So it probably has more to do with that just little moment, that little cut to say, here's the dividing line. This is clearly fake, and moving forward, everything you see is going to be fake.
I don't know.
Another thing, again, I don't know that it was intentional, but I just picked up on it, was this is supposed to be New York. And maybe it's the fact that they filmed it in the UK, but maybe it's just a choice that was made. The number of international people around him. So he's at the party. The guy who hits on Nicole Kidman is from Hungary. Afterwards, he goes to this patient's house, and his daughter's clearly not American. They didn't identify her, but I would say she was probably German or something.
I don't know.
The guy at the bar, the Sonata Cafe or whatever, he was not an American. The guy who runs the costume shop, not an American.
But Betsy.
The guy running the fucking orgy, not an American. It just kind of, the people who have lines of dialogue,
I get that.
not Americans.
Also, it's New York City, and it is the most multi-ethnic melting pot of people.
Right, but it's just mostly the fact that Bill just keeps running into them, or the fact that Alice keeps running into them, like specifically. I don't know. It just felt like really intentional because, yes, this is a very big melting pot of people, but
it's
they're
not,
also,
it's not everybody.
But they're also upper-class white people.
You also go into the diner, and the waitress at the diner is a generic-looking white lady. You go into the hotel. Alan Cumming is not an American, which, by the way, did you also read the thing about Stanley Kubrick not knowing that Alan Cumming was not American? Because the audition tape he sent in, he did such a good American accent, he had no idea that he was not American.
Because he's really good at it, which is interesting because he's a Scotsman. Like, he's a serious Scotsman.
Oh, yes.
And that's not easy. It was something I noticed, and I kept noticing it. So for upper class white doctor and his wife to keep running into these people,
I mean, I don't know much about New York.
It doesn't seem like a coincidence.
I don't know much about New York City or the Village because I think that's where they are for the most part. I just don't know anything about it. So is this like an Eastern European commune? I have no idea.
Well, they say the Village, and I don't know if that's Greenwich Village or the East Village. Where's the Village voice based out of? Do you know?
I don't know.
Damn it.
Again, okay, I don't know much about New York City. I've only been there once.
Well, it's one of those two. So it's either the artists or I think the East Village is more like Eastern European.
Fine.
Or like it was once upon a time, and that's, yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, one other thing I noticed, and again, it just feels like it was intentional, the fact that when he's at Domino's apartment, he takes a phone call, and he is up against the door, and her bookshelf is in focus, and there's an introduction to sociology book there.
I noticed that.
So it's obvious that you're supposed to notice that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an interesting thing for someone who is soliciting human beings to have a book like that. There's basically a good way to learn how to solicit human beings.
Well, how to read people and how to find the right one that isn't going to be a crazy person who's going to attack you. And number two, maybe somebody with money.
Yeah. Well, were there any other thoughts, any other things you really wanted to bring up before we start wrapping this up?
Just a couple of things that I had in my notes. One was when Tom Cruise came home and Nicole Kidman is having her dream and she's laughing. Which, by the way, did you notice how small that bed was? That's like a full-sized bed.
I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah.
Or maybe just the way they were shooting it made it look very teensy.
It looked really small, but anyway, she's recounting this dream, this extremely vivid dream. Now, Betsy, you dream a whole lot, and you remember a lot about your dreams.
I have crazy dreams.
Yeah, you dream all the time. I don't. It is once in a blue moon that I wake up and I can remember a dream. I'm sure I dream, but I never remember them. And I'll say this, there are some dreams that I remember vividly, but not this vividly, and not dreams that went on this long.
Right, and this is another one of those parallels I was talking about where he's literally coming home from an orgy and she is dreaming about how the two of them were naked in the woods.
Yeah, they're stranded naked, and she's scared. He leaves to go find her some clothes. Then the Navy guy shows up and starts laughing at her.
But then she starts having sex with him and a whole bunch of other men.
And then a whole bunch of other men show up and everybody's having sex. And then Tom Cruise comes back and she starts laughing at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really dark dream, which is why she's upset when she wakes up.
Sure.
Because it's when she has said they love each other, she loves him, she wouldn't do this to him, and she dreams it, it really shakes her up.
Well, and she even admits after she tells him the story about the guy in the first time, as soon as she realizes that he left, she felt relief that temptation was gone. That guy was gone. And she's not had any other thoughts about any other men that she reveals anyway. It's just this one guy. And it's still in her brain all this time later, and she's having weird orgy sex dreams.
Well, and then at the end of the movie, after he confesses everything to her and he's crying and upset himself, she says there's one more thing we need to do as soon as possible. And that's fuck.
Yeah.
End of movie. Right. Like, she's not wrong. Like, the two of them had sex the first night. This movie takes place over like 4 days, 4 days.
It's just a few days. Yeah.
So they have sex the first night. They're about to have sex the second night. They don't have sex the third night. And then the fourth day, I think, is when all of this happens. And she says, we need to have sex as soon as possible.
Right. And the last thing I wanted to mention, obviously this movie happens well before this other movie I'm going to reference, but there are two different moments here that reminded me of the movie Collateral, a movie also starring Tom Cruise that Betsy and I both love. The crux of the movie is he is a hitman who is out to murder a bunch of people in LA, and he hires a cabbie in order to take him around to the different spots where he has to kill people. And he in Collateral, he offers the cabbie, the Jamie Foxx character, like however much the tab is plus an extra $50 or whatever it happens to be. And when he's in this movie, he's in the back. He's like almost got the same like body language and like leaning up to the cabbie. Yeah, and the framing of the shot is almost identical to Collateral.
And that might not be a mistake. That could be Michael Mann making a nod to Kubrick because he had just died, and that movie was made not that long after this one.
You're right.
It could have been intentional. So what was the second one you noticed?
The other one was just the fact that he goes to a jazz club, and that's where another one of the assassinations takes place in Collateral.
It's very possible that those aren't mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, there could be some parallels that are just coincidence, but I think at least the thing of him giving him money and framing it like that, that one I give you could have been an intentional choice. Well, I just had one more thing, and I am shocked I didn't pick up on this immediately during the movie. The place that they filmed the orgy scenes is Highclere Castle, which if you people out there know what that is, you will know that is where they filmed Downton Abbey. That is the building that doubles as Downton Abbey.
I hope they steam clean the whole place.
I need to go back immediately and watch that sequence because I am just, like I said, amazed that I missed it. It's fantastic what a little bit of set dressing and different lighting will do to a space. But yeah, same building. Fun fact. All right. Well, yeah, I think you and I both feel about the same. I think there is a lot of meat on these bones. I think we both really liked it. I'll be curious if we come back to this one at any point. It took us this long to watch it, but
I'll say this. There's definitely some stuff that we missed.
Yeah.
I read something where Tom Cruise comes back home and there is a stack of VHS tapes somewhere, and at the top is Full Metal Jacket.
What?
Another Kubrick.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I was seeing that there's a lot of Easter eggs, I think.
Yeah.
For referencing
And
his other
Kubrick
movies.
is in the movie. He's at the
I
the
missed
cafe.
him. He's right across. He's in frame. Nope, didn't see him. But I also don't, I know what Kubrick looks like.
Sure.
I don't know what he looked like right before he died.
No idea.
When he was older. Anyhow, that's going to be it for this one. We do have an email. Speaking of Tom Cruise, we got one about Top Gun Maverick. This one came in from our distinguished contributor, Mitch from Saskatoon. He says, "Hi. So I finally got the chance to see Top Gun Maverick. I was not able to see it in the theater and wanted to wait to see it for free. Thank you, Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I know I'm in the minority for seeing it so late, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I did not think this movie was going to live up to the hype. I was wrong. I can see why every dad in America was salivating over this thing. Explosions, loud engines, and speed. Love it! If you can get past the whole Star Wars Death Star similarity, it's pretty cool.
I don't know if I can ever get past that, but I've accepted it. It's okay.
Listen, I didn't pick up on it when we watched it. You had to point it out to me, but now you've done it. I can't unsee it. It can't be unseen.
Yeah.
He continues, "This deserved the Oscar nomination to say the least, and I will be watching it again. I look forward to the April film series that you have been advertising. Entertaining as always. Love, Mitch from Saskatoon. The Northern Lights were cool last week up here." Yeah, we missed it. We were indoors.
Yes. Well, welcome to April, Mitch. I hope you're enjoying the smut.
But as promised, we have yet another series. Trent, should we tell them what we're doing?
Betsy, I'm glad you asked. Every Wednesday in the month of April, we are going to be covering the polar opposite of smut movies.
What, as far as we could think of.
Yeah, we already did like a Disney sequel thing. Like, we're not going to go that cutesy, but no, we are going to be covering 4 movies relating to video games.
A concept near and dear to your heart, Trent.
Yes, Betsy. We're going to be covering 4 movies. I've only actually seen one of them.
And I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
All 4 are new to me, and all 5 of our smut movies are new to me. This is a fascinating month for Betsy.
And I've seen only one of the smut movies. So yeah, it's very, very new to all of us.
You're ahead of me this month, Trent.
That's
is really
weird.
Really weird.
Yeah.
That you will have seen 2 and I will have seen none out of 9 movies that we'll be covering this month. Well, that'll be a wild month. So look forward to all of that. But as we said at the beginning, we are doing the Smutty Sunday episode. So we got 4 more of those to go.
Smutty Sunday.
And then our video game series on Wednesday and the following 3 Wednesdays. So 4 of those total. But we would love to hear your thought on this movie, any of the smut movies we covered the last time, any video game movies that you love. Listen, video games are tricky. We'll talk more about that when we get to it. Some are great, some are not so great.
Most of them are not.
Most of them are not. So we would love to hear your opinion about the good, the bad, and the ugly video game movies. If you would love to reach out to us, we would love to hear from you. Email us at neverseenitpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I guess we're getting back to the is Twitter still a thing conversation?
Yeah.
But for the time being, it is. So find us on there. You can also support the show by clicking the link in the podcast description, and we can keep bringing you these fun and smutty movies.
Pay for smut, goddammit.
But with that, this has been another episode of Never Seen It, and our first of Smutty Sunday. I have been Betsy.
And I'm Trent.
And we will catch you next time.
Bye-bye.